Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Wayne County Board of Commissioners meeting for September 1st of 2020. I'll say the same thing now as I did earlier today. Where is this year gone? It's September 1st already. Santa Claus will be coming shortly. I want to remind everyone, if you will, at this time to silence your cell phones to make sure that we're not interrupted during our meetings today. Also, I want to remind you that we are still under the phase 2 of restrictions for COVID-19. I'm glad to see we're trying to social distance the best that we can. We're limited the number of people in this room. So we're taking the precautions that are required and necessary. At this time, I'd like to call on Commissioner Worrell. He has the invocation today. Mr. Worrell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to introduce Apostle Von Newsom. He is the pastor of Impact Church Goldsboro, located at 109 West Ash Street. Impact Church is committed to helping to serve the community through various programs and ministries offered, such as Impact Community Day Center, located at 401 North James Street, where they serve the homeless community by helping to provide resources and services to hopefully empower the homeless into more fortunate situations. Apostle Newsom, invocation, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Worrell. Thank you to the entire committee, and certainly appreciate you all inviting me down, and certainly appreciate what you all do. So that being said, Father, we thank you this morning for the opportunity to come and just simply invite your presence, your wisdom, your grace into this setting. We thank you for just allowing us to experience that grace and your wisdom as they continue to carry out the business that's at hand. We acknowledge you in all of our ways, and we ask this morning that you would direct, lead, guide, and we thank you for clarity of speech. We thank you for the ability to hear and to process everything that will be said so that decisions that will be made will be effective for all. And we thank you in Jesus' name. We do pray and we say amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Newsom. Thank you. Commissioner Camarda, you have the pledge of allegiance, sir.
Please stand and face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm still thankful that we are able to have in this country and in our county, we're still able to have our invocation and say the Pledge of Allegiance. At this time, let's look at the approval of the minutes from our August 18th meeting. If commissioners have read those minutes, if you have any comments or anything at this time.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Have a motion to approve the board minutes from August 18th. Are there any comments, changes by any board member? All in favor of the minutes, raise your right hand, please. Okay, we are unanimous. Motion carries. Discussion and adjustment of agenda. Mr. Haneke.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, we would like to remove number 4 under consent agenda. Motion to approve amendments to the public comment policy. In discussion with our attorney, we still need some more review on that, and hopefully we'll be able to bring that to you at our next meeting.
Okay. Any other? Is that all the changes?
Yes, sir. It is.
Okay. So we have the agenda in front of us at this time. I'd like to have a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Make motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion or any discussion. All in favor, raise your right hand, please. Okay, agenda is approved. Mr. Honeycutt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, under special presentation, we do have a proclamation honoring Mr. Gus H. Tullis, and Mr. Aycock would like to do that for us.
Mr. Ellis, if you would come up to the podium, and then I'll read this, and then I'll come down and present it to you.
Thank you.
Okay. proclamation honoring Gus H. Tullis. Whereas Mr. Gus H. Tullis has served on the North Carolina State Board of Transportation since 2008, serving admirably under 4 different administrations. And whereas Mr. Tullis has represented transportation in District 4, which includes Wayne County. And whereas Mr. Tullis is influentially in administering of 428 construction contracts with bids amounting total approximately $1.35 billion and $540 million in maintenance expenditures for District 4 during his tenure. And whereas Mr. Tullis chaired numerous board committees through the years, including service on the board's road, bridge, and ferry naming committee, including the charge of establishing honorary distinctions on state-owned roads and bridges in tribute of citizens whose character and contributions to the area are where remarkably significant, such as the Gray Bailey and John Carr Highway. And whereas Mr. Tullis was steadfast and advocate for many projects along Highway 70, future Interstate 42 corridor. And whereas Mr. Tullis was an integral part of the creation of the Goldsboro Bypass and 21-mile stretch of freeway that eliminated congestion for drivers traveling from Raleigh to Morehead City, and also provided access to points in Wayne County previously cut off during flooding from hurricanes. This bypass was first major part of future Interstate 42 completed. And whereas it is appreciate to recognize the dedication and service attitude of Gus H. Tullis. Therefore, the Wayne County Board of Commissioners does recognize and applaud the great efforts of Gus H. Tullis in Wayne County and the great state of North Carolina, and thank him for his service. Signed, Commissioner E. Ray Mayo.
You guys will turn around and look up at those cameras. Don't get it.
Thank you for your dedication and to District 4 and to Wayne County for all the things that has happened. And the road system in Wayne County is better because of your efforts.
Well, that's mighty nice.
And also I want to congratulate you on being the best dressed member of that board.
I was going to say the same thing.
What a nice compliment. Thank you.
Thank you.
That
Thank you
is
so
very
much.
nice. Good, good.
Don't forget where we're at.
I won't. Can I say 1 or 2 words?
Yes, sir. Say what you like.
Good. This is a real honor, and I appreciate it very much. I'm very, very flattered. But the 8 years, the 12 years rather, have sort of flown by, and I can remember when I first started coming over here, Joe, you coming on the board, and the whole group of you. I'm from Rocky Mount, and we've always been competitive with Goldsboro growing up in high school and whatever. And Goldsboro was always the toughest town we ever had to deal with. And it hadn't changed. Goldsboro, with all of y'all and what you've done, that's why this Highway 70 is going like it has, why that's a 70 Corridor Commission has done so well, because you've got such great leadership in Wayne County and in the city. So it's been a real pleasure to be involved with. And you got a lot going on right now. You know, you're going to have 4 lanes all the way out to 70 on 3 different arteries. You got the interstate designation 795 that's going to, you know, go 117 out to 40. So you got just some great things that are happening. But the MPO, the Metropolitan Planning Organization that the Wayne County is a part of, is one of the tops in the state. And I remember when we started working on 70 and asked Jim Trogdon to help. He said, I'm not even going to touch it until you guys learn to get, the guys and gals learn to get together and work together. And so you got all the counties from here all the way down to the coast. And it's probably the greatest corridor commission ever been put together, but what you've done. So I really, really congratulate you. And I remember the first time I came here, we did the Highway 7, Interstate 795 for Martin Lancaster and Andy Anderson, and we brought the sign in, and they couldn't get it in the elevator. So our guys had to carry it upstairs and about kill all of them.
Yeah.
But that's a memory. And then, Wayne, Commissioner, what you did for Gray Bailey, that thing didn't just happen at that time. You couldn't name a state road, for local, but you did it. And, you stayed right on that thing, and I know you're proud of what you've done. So I'm just proud of this group, and I'm proud to be a part of it, and it's been a wonderful 12 years, and, the sky's the limit for you. But thank you for this very nice proclamation. I really appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman,
Yeah, Mr. Camardi.
Before the gentleman leaves, I live in Mount Olive, and early in some of the preparation to do some work down 117, it's now 7. I was in a meeting once, and someone said, y'all better make sure that there's enough legitimate exits to get to Mount Olive, otherwise you'll be bypassed. And they used an example of some town that I wasn't absolutely familiar with, but I understood what they were talking about. I appreciate the fact that there's some good exits and so forth, and put in that 117 down towards Mount Olive so folk can not just bypass Mount Olive. Traveling up and down there every day while all that work was done on flyovers and all that kind of stuff, a citizen has to stand amazed at the movement of Earth and how something transforms itself and becomes a reality. It's just amazing. Second thing I want to say is that Mr. Aycock stole the comment that I was ready to make, because when you walked in, I thought to myself, who in the world is that immaculately dressed gentleman? There is no question that double breast blazer you got on sets you off, so be careful as you walk out there. Somebody might snatch you off and take you to Hollywood or something. Good to see you. Thank you very much.
Mr. Pate. Mr. Pate.
I just want to personally thank you, Gus, for being so responsive to our needs here in Wayne County. And when we contacted you, you were there for us. You always were. I found out just by reading that he's a proud graduate of East Carolina University. That's what makes him so special.
Any other?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Darby.
Gus, I owe you a great deal, and Wayne County owes you a great deal. But I want to tell a story about a young fellow that just became a commissioner. Actually, I was a little older, but anyway, I became a commissioner, but not knowing how to get things done. And one of my goals was to get an interstate designation completion down to I-40 on 795. And not knowing how to go about it, I, of course, made several attempts. And I reached out to Gus, and what great advice. As it turns out, the Highway 70 Corridor Commission was a little bit envious over the fact of 795 being designated as an interstate when 70 hadn't been. Wait a minute now, we got to get 70 first designated. So at any rate, in that process, we kind of merged the two together. And what great advice that was, of actually going to Congress and getting Congress to actually pass the bill of the designation of the completion of 795 as well as Highway 70. And it was through your leadership and your advice, and I appreciate it so much. And Wayne County appreciates it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Very nice.
Yes, when I came on the board in 2012, I met you at the Highway 7 Corridor meetings that we used to go to. And I said the same thing that some of the other commissioners said. Man, this guy's dressing ahead of his time. So what my point is this: thank you for what you've done for Wayne County and other counties. 795 in particular, which runs up through my district by Pikeville and Fremont, it is already starting to prove that it was a wise move. Those two towns, especially Fremont, are seeing some potential growth that we have never seen before. And so 795 is a big part of that. The other thing is, I also feel like we actually need to give you a second plaque, because I do feel like you need to have a plaque as the most well-dressed DOT person that's ever served, as far as I can see. So thank you so much. We have two new commissioners here, Mr. Worrell and
Freeman.
I want to call him by his first name, but I need to say Mr. Hardison because that's the proper thing. They probably heard your name, but I will tell you that before too long, they will know a lot more about you and what you've done through us other, what I call older commissioners. So thank you again for coming. It's been an honor to have you here with us today. I wish you well.
Well, thank you. I don't know if I can get out the door with the 12.
Well deserved.
Very appreciative. Thank you. And I'm sorry I didn't get to work with you two gentlemen. But my replacement, a fellow named Melvin Mitchell from Rocky Mount, wonderful guy. So I guarantee you.
Well, if we need some help with him, we'll call you.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair,
Is any other?
just a minute, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Aycock? Yeah.
I just want to thank you again, and you mentioned the Gray Bailey. You were a big part of that also. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, but if you stand on top of it, just like Joe stayed on I-70 and that designation, it takes, I was just helping with carry your water, but showing.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
We do need a motion to approve.
Oh,
That's in form of a motion,
okay,
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Aycock. Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the proclamation honoring Gus H. Ellis. Is there any comments or at this time? All right, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor, raise your right hand, please. Okay, motion is unanimous. Motion carries. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next, under special presentation, is a presentation of new GIS public crime mapping application by our GIS director, Julio Garrido. And we're so glad that he was able to drive here very safely today. I've chosen not to drive with him to work this morning. But Julio, we're glad you're here, bud.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing today?
Good morning.
Well, as Mr. Honeycutt mentioned, my name is Julio Garrido, and I am the GIS coordinator for the County of Wayne. In the short time that I have been here, I was able to pretty much revamp a little bit the GIS program, and also was able to update our system to the latest version. By doing that, it allowed us to get a lot of new tools, or I should say toys, to play with, including this application right here. This application right here allows us to see what's going on in Wayne County as far as crimes is concerned. Our crime incident map was created with these new tools that I found out during the latest upgrade. And what it shows us here when it first comes up is every single incident that has occurred within the County of Wayne for the last 2 weeks, and we can see that right there. So just by looking at the map, we can see there's 228 incidents that occurred within the last 2 weeks within the entire County of Wayne. It also has a breakdown over here on the left-hand side as to how many have occurred. And also this list right here shows us a little bit more information as to all the incidents that have occurred within the last 2 weeks. I can also go ahead and click on any one of these, say for example that, and it will give me the same information that's here on the left-hand side, but it's specific to that one item that I clicked on. So we have a drug equipment violation, possessing methamphetamines, and it shows me that I have 2 records. I can move to the second record, and again, there's 2 counts of that same incident within that one location. I can move over to this gentleman right here and say, okay, 800 block of Lindell Road, County Sheriff, an overdose, so on and so forth. But what if I just want to see one specific item? I have different categories up here. The same categories I have here on the right-hand side. I have it on the left. I want to see all the break-in and enterings that occurred within the last 2 weeks within Wayne County. And it shows me that I have 20, and if I scroll down the list, I will also have 20 and where they occurred at. But this one catches my eye. 100 block of Lock Haven Drive. Well, let me see where that's at. I can click on it, and it will immediately take me to that incident on a map. I can also find out just by clicking on it. Yep, same thing, 100 block of Lock Haven Drive, agencies, Goldsboro PD, breaking and entering, so on and so forth. Exit out of here, click back on there, gives me back the entire county, and it's going to show me a breakdown, once I take this off, of everything that occurred. Same thing can apply to grand theft auto, other crimes, robbery, vandalism. I can limit what I want to see on this map. If I don't want to do it that way, I can do it by the chart itself. I can click on the piece of pie called larceny and theft, and it'll, again, filter out all the larceny and theft that we have within Wayne County. In this case, we have 78 larceny and thefts, 43 vandalisms, 32 assaults, et cetera, just by clicking on a piece of pie. When this updates as well. If we notice, once I click on here, the list changes to vandalism, and it shows every vandalism within Wayne County for the last 2 weeks. Click on assault, same thing. All the assault for the last 2 weeks. Now, I can also filter this by agency. Show me everything that the county sheriff was involved in. Show me everything for the city of Goldsboro. Or just want to see everything at one time. I can do it for 2 weeks, 30 days, 90 days, 180 days.
Can't even see Wayne County already.
Been busy, haven't you, Sheriff?
Mm-hmm. So let's go back to the 2 weeks. So, if I want to find an address, say for example, let me find out I'm getting ready to move into a new neighborhood and I know the address. The system will find the address, place a little square by it, and it shows me, well, no data. No data within this little neighborhood right now for the last 2 weeks, for the last 30 days, for the last 90 days, or for the last 180 days. So, okay, I'm happy. This is a pretty safe neighborhood. If I go to another area, say for example, I want to do Meadow Lane Elementary School, I can click on it. It's like, oh, wait a minute. There's Meadow Lane Elementary. What do we have? Well, we have grand theft auto, we have some larceny, we have some breaking and entering, so on and so forth. If I want to find out a little bit more about it, and this is for the last 180 days, excuse me. For the last 2 weeks, nothing. For the last 30 days, nothing. 90 days. Okay. I think I can handle the grand theft auto and one every 3 months in one area. That's not a problem. Any address within a county of Wayne, we can enter in here. Or a place of business. Walmart. The one on Spence, the one on Highway 70, or the one on Tommy's Road. Let's check on the one on Tommy's Road. Again, 4 incidents, 2 larcenies, 1 vandalism, 1 fraud. And the beauty of it is, it doesn't give you an exact address as to where this occurred. It only gives you the 1100 block of Tommy's Road. It doesn't place the point on top of the property. It doesn't place the point anywhere near the property. It just shows you, yes, something occurred within this area. We don't want to give the public too much information. Okay, say, yeah, it occurred here at this house. No. If they want to find more information, they can always contact their local law enforcement, give them case number 2020, et cetera, and they can find more information about that process, about what happened there. Zoom back out. I also have some additional charts. Right now, again, 90 days, the entire county. Let's break it down even further. If I go down to additional charts, it shows me, it breaks it down by category, it breaks it down by agency. How many did Goldsboro have? How many did the county sheriff have? What was the highest incident type that occurred within the last 90 days? And we can still filter this out if we want to. Category of other. Once I click on other, the system changes and it shows me, well, for the last 90 days, we had 86 frauds, 72 grand theft autos, so on and so forth, 1 homicide, Goldsboro had this many, county sheriff had this many. A lot of information just being showed on one screen. The public can find out, am I in a safe neighborhood? What's going on in my family's neighborhood? What's going on around the school that my kids are going to? And speaking of kids, we have 2 other things we need to show. Let me go zoom in back to Meadow Lane. And for some reason it gives me, there, let's go here, go there. There we go. And it's giving me everything in the world. Here we go. Back to Meadow Lane. Nothing happened for the last 2 weeks. That's fine. Zoom out a little bit. I see Greenwood Middle. And I see a couple of little dots right there. Those pink dots represent daycare centers. If I click on any one of these daycare centers, it gives me Bright Beginnings Christian Center. Click on the one next to it, Joyful Play 2. All the information, all the phone numbers. And if we want to find out what the state has, we can click on the link, go back to the Division of Child Development and Early Education, and it brings up all the information that the state has concerning this daycare center, just in case you want to place your child there. It also gives us the ability to show where the school property is. And every one of these blue shapes or blue areas represents a 1,000-foot buffer around school property. Why do we need that? That right there, sex offenders. By law, a sex offender cannot be within 1,000 foot within a school property or a daycare center. So if I zoom out a little bit and start looking around, nope, nothing there, nothing there. Oh, hello. Around Children's House of Montessori School, we have one gentleman that's barely in there. Who is this gentleman? Or who is this person? I can click on him. He gives me the name, the address, sex, race, whether he's grandfathered or no, and what the state registry has on him.
Wow.
Does that apply to daycare centers? Sure. Again, daycare property. Zoom back out. Whole pink area is a daycare. Daycare center, schools, so on and so forth. We had another person right there. Where'd he go? There he is. Name, address, sex, race, whether or not he's grandfathered or not, what does he look like? All this within one application that the public can use at any time. This application is currently live, can be accessed by the public at this point in time. Gentlemen, do we have any questions?
How do you get this?
Yeah, how do you get there?
How do you get there?
I saw you put in a website.
Oh, yes, I did. I did put a website, but we can go to wayngov.com and go to the sheriff's office. And the sheriff will have a link to the public crimes map. The website that I typed in is basically what we call a back door to get into the application without having to go through a website and putting this long URL. We can just go through the back door and just get to that location a lot quicker. So, government, sheriff, scroll down to the bottom, public crimes map, and instead of me having to type this entire thing, you can just go to that link. And it brings back what we got. This is updated automatically every single morning at 3 o'clock in the morning. It tries to locate every single address that the sheriff has put in, sheriff, PD, whomever, has put into their system. It tries to reference it and place it on the map. Basically, it's like the old school days where you had a push pin, put on a map. Here's another push pin, put it on the map. Now it's electronic, and it does it automatically.
Wow, that is amazing.
Any questions, gentlemen?
And I do want, Chip, if you would say just a couple.
One of the beauties of this map is that this was a service, we had a different application, it wasn't quite as thorough as this application, but we paid a subscription to it for a service there every year. So Julio coming here being a programmer, and we were lucky enough to hire him from Geographic Technologies Group several years ago. We just got lucky and got him. He was always has done consultant work for us since the early 2000s anyway that I know of. He was able to create this application, and we eliminated that yearly cost by having to pay for that subscription.
All right, and that.
Say that in the microphone so
Yeah.
And does Barry have anything to say?
We were lucky enough to hire him from Geographic Technologies Group, Kurt Hinton. They're a great group, and we've always done a lot of business with them. And Julio has been a consultant here for us in the tax office and different agencies, and he has a lot of IT experience that I didn't have that we needed desperately. We had a previous crime mapping application, and it was a subscription service that that GTG had created that we paid for on a yearly basis. And so with Julio being able to come here and upgrade our software, and we take advantage of some of his programming knowledge and his ability to develop maps, he's been able to eliminate that one subscription. Anyway, he's done several, but this is just another example of everything's done in-house, and we're not outsourcing it or paying for outside consultants. We got our own consultant here, and we've been thrilled to death with the work that he's done so far.
And one of the advantages of having everything in-house is that we can modify this any which way we want to. The previous subscription base did not have sex offenders, daycare centers, the schools, or anything. It's just basic maps showing where crimes were. In consulting with our sheriff, he wanted to see those items on the screen, and we were able to provide those without a problem. The subscription that Chip was talking about was $2,400 a year. This is free. We already pay our yearly maintenance for our software that we use in the GIS department. this is part of that subscription. So there's no additional cost to the county by using this.
Good job.
So, in other words, just about any aspect of life in Wayne County can be identified through this.
Anything crime incident based, yes, can be identified with this application. Find out where the nearest school is. Find out if there's a sex offender living in your neighborhood or not. If there is, what is his name, address, and what is his rap sheet as well.
So you did use the word crime incident map,
Yes, sir.
and that's what this is specifically limited to.
Yes, sir.
Good job. Yes, Mr. Pate.
You have, I know anything's possible, but it would be interesting to see if you could compare this years back to this. See that there's a trend going up or down over the years. I know it's a lot more work for you, but.
Well, free application itself is designed to show what's going on now, and also for the last 180 days. However, the software that I use in my office, we can calculate trends, whether or not there's more breaking and enterings in 2020 than there was in 2019, where the hot spots are. It also has some predictive analysis that allows you to kind of sort of determine the area where the next one might occur. So that's all the software that's in my office. However, we try to keep it as simple as possible for the public.
Okay, well, I was just thinking in terms of how helpful that would be to the sheriff and his planning.
Well, the sheriff department already has an application that they use that will calculate or do what happened in 2019 compared to 2018. They already have that application on their end. This is just meant for the public. Okay. And their application contains a lot more information than what I'm presenting to the public.
How many sex offenders do we have registered in Wayne County?
I want to say about 217, I believe.
Isn't that up quite a bit from what it was like 10, 12, 15 years ago? Sheriff, do you remember?
I can't tell you. Since I've been sheriff, we've averaged a little over 200 since I've been sheriff.
That's a lot. Thank you.
Yes,
So
sir.
while you specifically highlighted a couple, if you got 200 and some, but it highlighted the ones that were near schools. So
Actually, it will highlight all of them.
it would highlight all of them.
The moment,
And is it safe to say that there's a,
if I turn off crimes, for example, and just leave it a blank screen, turn this off, of course. Regardless of whether or not it is near a school, it's going to show those sex offenders. They won't.
Very good.
Polly Watson. Freeman.
So it doesn't matter if the offender is near a school or not, the system will show his or her current location.
Wow.
it might also show the highest incident of accidents.
I don't know
But it
how.
would have to be indicated as a crime, not just an accident. It would just say crime incident report, so, I guess if it was a vehicle accident, there would have to be a crime involved in it for it to appear on here.
I do not
just an accident.
I do not have access to the accident module.
And I was wondering whether, is there an intersection or something? I don't mean to, but you got everything. If there's a if there's a high incident of accidents at a certain intersection or a certain curve in the road or some, I don't remember there being designated any place in Wayne County, but when you're watching Channel 11 and it's showing, Johnston and everything else,
Right.
it'll show some intersections that all of a sudden highlights that over the last some years, there have been this number of children or somebody hit, or there have been joggers or something hurt in this area.
Right.
And it shows that it was, for some reason, a hot spot. Now, and I'm getting ready to ask the question, but it's not for you to, I'm not trying to get you down, but it's a concern that I have. It may be an invasion, but with COVID-19, you use the word hotspot.
Yes, sir.
That's a word being used now where COVID-19 is concerned.
Yes, sir.
Hotspots. The public does not need to know invasive information, but the public deserves to know where quote-unquote hotspots might be. Someone may disagree with that and probably would.
The problem with that is for a couple of reasons. One, where did this person catch COVID-19?
Sir?
Where did this person catch COVID-19? That's one question.
Uh-huh.
I mean, they could have caught it at Walmart, they could have caught it at Target, they could have caught it anywhere within the county. Do we do their home as the hotspot, or do we do a probability as to where they were when they caught the COVID-19? Second of all, I cannot get that information due to HIPAA.
Now, thank you for, and I know we were going down that road, and the attorney may wave us off in just a minute, or wave me off in just a minute. I ventured to go in that direction when I realized that you do have amazing information, and you can't have that information unless you provided that, and HIPAA may cause you to not even be able to get near it. But you made a comment. Do you want to know the geographic area, or is it invasive to know the right down to the address? Here's a personal concern, and this is, and as far as I'm concerned, this is a personal concern for a lot of folk who do what I do. I rent houses to people, and each time that the incidence of COVID appears, there's an increased chance for that to be in a property that I may own. And when you have to do maintenance and so forth on properties, or interact with folk,
Right.
given HIPAA or not, there's a chance that I may expose myself to something that I deserve to know what I'm walking into, as if, as far as I'm concerned, it's just if somebody was a habitual bank robber. I would want to know if that person been robbing banks, and what's the chance of me coming in contact with that person.
Right.
We are living in a dangerous time, and I know what I have brought up may be invasive, but when you're talking about your personal safety and the safety of someone that you may hire a contract with to go and do something at a specific location, I argue that there's a need to know the location. And I said, I just happen to find this as a, since we're talking about locations, and it's a good time for me to go ahead and broach that subject, because I have a strong concern that I or someone that I may employ to do something could be exposed to something that is invisible, and until there's enough information shared, at least with folk who have a vested interest in knowing about that location, so that you, just like any dangerous intersection that in the world, it
Right.
might be something that you want to avoid. The only way you can avoid it is to have a certain amount of information. I just wanted to bring that up. The public out there doesn't have a concern. Maybe I shouldn't have one, but this is an opportunity for the public to think about something that you just sort of cracked the door for me.
Right. But for me to get information, that would violate HIPAA regulations.
Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Acuff.
For Mr. Camarda's question about the hot spots as far as accidents and all, the DOT's got that information.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly how you go to it, and it's probably not as detailed as this, but they've got records on intersections and curves and stuff. But like I say, I don't know how detailed it is, but the DOT does have that information.
Oh, okay, DOT.
DOT has that information.
I use the transportation thing only as an example.
Right. Any other?
I just want to thank you for all the work you've done over there. I use your maps a lot. Doesn't work that well on Apple products.
That's why I'm having problems.
I don't like Apple.
One thing that I would like to know is the fire department have the same type of information?
As far as
When there's a fire, when they're called out for the emergency or anything like that, is there any type of mapping application?
they do, I believe, have some sort of mapping application that was created by a third-party company. I believe it was Spillman who created the application. Not exactly sure how well it works for them, but yes, they do have some sort of mapping.
It works off the phones. It gives you the type of call, the address. You click on the address and it pulls the map up, and on your phone it tells. I was in South Dakota one time and we had a call at Nahana, and my phone went off and I punched the address and it showed me how to get to that call from South Dakota.
Is that part of the CAD system?
It's part of the CAD system, yes. Mhm.
It's called Active 911.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good to be able to take a look and see, like the fire departments in my district, what calls they've been called out on and so on and so forth.
Well, historical data can probably be retrieved if, again, I need access to the information. Once I have the information, I should be able to put it on a map saying
Exactly.
this amount of fires or fire incidents or EMS incidents or pretty much whatever can be plotted on a map as long as it has a valid address. Okay. And then using the software I have in my office, we can compute hotspots, probabilities, so on and so forth, and then determine if we need an additional fire department here or if we need another EMS station. But yeah.
You have some free time. You have another project.
Mr. Hardison, you can, on fire calls, the fire marshal can get that information for you. On EMS calls, Mr. Cutterback can get that information for you.
Yes, I've seen that before. That's available.
They've got, I'm not saying it's got a map and all like this now, because this is pretty detailed right here.
Yeah, that's
But they
the
can
beauty
get
of
they can get the information for you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Aycock.
Yeah. See any other comments? Thank you. That was real informative. Good job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I do just want to kind of tag on to what Chip said. We're really very lucky and blessed to have Julio here and the work that he does, and we really do want to thank you for what you do for the county.
That system's come a long way.
Oh, yeah.
Barry, you need to make any comments? We left you back there in the corner.
No, I was just gonna say, Julio is an asset to our office. You have some folks who come up with ideas, and that's what they do. But you have others who come up with ideas and follow through, and that's what Julio is doing with this. And so just with that, you'll be able to do that on his own and run through something like this from start to finish. That's a true asset here to Wayne County, and we do appreciate that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Lincoln?
Appointment committee?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Let me find it. Okay. These are action items that we take today. These recommendations were made at the last meeting. The first one, the reappointment of Mr. Robert Freeman to the Wayne County Planning Board.
And I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there any comments, discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand, please. Unanimous, motion carries.
All right, the next one is a reappointment also, the reappointment of Ms. Lee Holtz to the Wayne County Public Library Board of Advisors, and I'd like to put that in the form of a motion, sir.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there any comments? All in favor, raise your right hand, please. Motion's unanimous. Thank you.
All right, the next one is a reappointment of Mr. Jerome Ellis to the Community Child Facility Prevention Team, and I'd like to put that in the form of a motion, sir.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there any comments or questions? All in favor, raise your right hand, please. Motion's carried unanimous.
And the last one for today for his appointments, we'd like to, this is also a reappointment Ms. Linda Harper to the Wayne County Adult Care Home Community Advisory Committee, and that's in form of a motion.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand, please. Motion is unanimous.
Okay, and we've got a list that we need to recommend at this meeting so we can vote on it or take action at the next meeting. The first one is a reappointment of Ms. Gail Jones to the Wayne County Council on Aging, and I'll put that in form of a motion. I mean, we don't vote on it today, so now that's form of a motion from the appointment committee.
Okay.
Okay, the next one is also a reappointment. I'd like to reappoint Ms. Nancy Delia to the Wayne County Council on Ages, and that's in form of a motion from the appointment committee. The next one is also a reappointment. I'd like to recommend a reappointment of Ms. Peggy Tate to the Wayne County Council on Aging, and that's in form of a motion from the appointment committee.
Okay. These are the ones that we will consider for our next meeting.
Yeah, I got one more.
Okay.
This one was just penciled in this morning.
Okay.
I'd like to recommend Mr. Tony Ham for appointment to the Wayne County Health Corporation Board of Directors, and that's in a form of a motion from the appointment committee.
Mr. Chairman, that's Dr. Tony Ham.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, this is something for all the commissioners to help us on. We need we need a recommendation for someone to replace Mr. Corbett on the Goldsboro Planning Commission. And Carol can let us know that I think that you kind of try to, not necessarily a district, but kind of in some locations. So we just, when Carol gets that information to us, then we can, try to find somebody to serve on that board. And that's all we have today, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Aycock.
Mr. Chairman, if I might inquire, on that replacement on the Planning Commission, isn't that supposedly in the ETJ, not actually living inside the city, but in the ETJ?
So that's your answer. I was going to research it later, but it does have to be.
So can we get a map or something so that we can kind of see?
Yes, sir.
Great. Thank you.
I mean, we try to pick some, you don't want, I don't know how many we got on that board, but you don't want all of them on the west side or the east side or the north or south.
You get 2 appointments to the board. I had a conversation with Jennifer, so you have Mr. Ronald Waters from the western side of the county. And so you have just one vacancy, one other appointment, and I'll get the map as Mr. Daugherty asked for.
That's all we have today, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Aycock.
Mr. Chairman, also with respect to the appointment committee, I really want to thank Carol and Kayla for really diving back in and doing a lot of work and getting our appointments where they need to be. So I just wanted to publicly thank them for that as well.
We won't be about 3 years behind.
but y'all have done a great job. We appreciate the work Kayla's done as well.
Yeah, good job.
Next, we do have our consent agenda, and as we discussed during the agenda discussion, we would like to remove number 4, but 1 through 3 we would like to put as a recommendation for approval.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand, please. Okay, motion is unanimous. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Under new business, discussion of legislative goals to present to the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners. This is something we've been working on with staff for probably the last 3 or 4 months, asking staff for their input of what we need to be looking at as far as legislative goals. A lot of these goals have also, are existing goals that we've had, but there are also a couple of new goals that we want to work on as well, especially looking at school funding. So if the board is okay, I'll go ahead and read these. Number 1, our legislative issues for the 2021 long session. Seek legislative funding and other efforts to expand digital infrastructure, broadband capability to the underserved and underserved areas to residents of our state. Number 2, seek additional revenue source, including a statewide bond referendum or expanded lottery proceeds to equitably address statewide public school and community college capital challenges. Number 3, change the Phase 1 lottery grant funding formula to reduce the local match requirements and forfeiture of future lottery funds. And again, this is what we're working on for Fremont Elementary. Number 4, allow County Board of Commissioners the authority without a voter referendum to levy a new additional 1/4 cent sales tax specifically designated for school, community college capital projects. Number 5, expand state resources to ensure availability of counties to provide essential medical, mental health, and social services to persons incarcerated in local detention facilities. And again, this is something we've dealt with a lot with respect to our inmates at the jail and their additional costs that we've had with the county. Number 6, support legislation to provide exceptions to the K-3 class size mandate, including but not limited to the lack of school facility space and availability of qualified teachers. Number 7, seek legislation allowing counties to levy a local 911 usage fee to supplement existing state funds to ensure adequate funding for next-gen technology. And again, this goes back to some of the concerns we've had with the 911 funding and the availability to spend those locally without having to go through the 911 board. Again, one of the things that we have underlined as always a priority is continued support for Hurricane Matthew and Florence recovery. Again, this has been a slow process, but we would still encourage the state to move forward as quickly as possible, releasing those funds and implementing those buyouts that need to be done. But also, we do have a couple of goals under the North Carolina Military Affairs Commission, again, to really support our efforts at Seymour Johnson. Again, protect North Carolina's existing military installations and missions, expand defense-related economic development in North Carolina, improve quality of life for military members and families, provide legislative and state agency coordination for military-related issues, lead the state's efforts to prepare for the next base realignment and closure, the BRAC process. And again, this is something that has really come up that we need to work on. Work with the state to enact a professional licensure reciprocity to allow families of service members to immediately gain employment in communities which they're stationed. Again, this is like for somebody who is a CPA, if they have a license from another state, that should be good enough for North Carolina. Instead of going through the licensing process, for a doctor or any type of professional PA or a dental assistant, you know, so allow those licenses to really go from state to state. And one of the things we talked about this morning in our agenda meeting was making sure that we send this to the city. We'll send it to the chamber. We'll get with our legislative delegation to make sure they're aware of our concerns. We'll try to get the league involved. We'll make sure when the association has their subcommittees getting their final goals and objectives ready, that we're a part of that so we can lobby for the issues that are important for the county. And we present this for your consideration.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Baker.
I apologize for not bringing this up sooner because we've had this list for a while. But I don't see anything on here pertaining to the farming community. And we all got to remember that farming is the #1 source of income in Wayne County. And like I say, I apologize for not saying something sooner. So just
There are a couple of legislative goals, and I think, you know, we've talked before about the nuisance ordinances that have been effective in the county as far as the smell and those type things. We can add that back on as well. But there's 3 or 4 different goals, I think, that the ag community has had. That the association has on their major list, but we can. All right. I'll send those out as well to make sure they're okay.
We decided to wait till after the 911 center is completed before we ask the 911 board to be dissolved and brought back to the counties. Is that right?
You hush.
walk lightly on that one.
We're just asking for more local control over these things. Yes. That bugs me every time I think about it. I had it on my phone here. That's the reason I brought it up. Okay. Shut up, Ray.
But we'll add some, Mr. Aycock, we can add a couple of the ag priorities as well.
Any questions or anything about our legislative goals from anybody? Okay. Do we need to vote on this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's the pleasure of the board?
Motion to accept the goals with the addition of the agricultural support.
Okay. Have a motion on the floor to accept the legislative goals as presented with the addition of the agricultural support
that you spoke of.
That the county manager spoke of.
Yes, sir.
But is there any other discussions or comments? All in favor, raise your right hand, please. We are unanimous. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of things I do want to mention under county manager's report. Number one, I do want to thank
public comments. My fault. My fault.
My fault as well.
Okay. Well, nobody for public comment? Okay, I guess we'll forego that. Okay. All right.
All right, okay. I apologize.
You're fine.
Forgot we moved it. A couple of things, and I really want to highlight the work that Public Affairs has done. I hope everybody was able to see the virtual town hall and the discussion that was held. And it was really a great discussion, and I appreciate Carol and Joel. And the sheriff was here. Sheriff was part of it as well. Chief West, BJ Council with 50 and U. It was really very, very well done, and it was really a good start for discussion that we will continue to have here in Wayne County. So again, just want to give the props to our public affairs for setting that up and you know the work that was done on that. The other thing I did want to mention was I hope everybody has seen and got a copy of, a new Wayne County face mask.
Yeah.
We really got these in yesterday. This was really a suggestion by Commissioner Worrell. You know, one of the things that we plan to do with our COVID dollars We're buying 15,000 of these masks, and we're going to do public distribution to make sure that we get those masks out to the public, and we're doing a little self-promotion as well with Wayne County on it as well. So we'll be working with Public Affairs as well for those distribution points. Right now, that's in the process. I think we've only gotten part of the mask in now, but it'll be over the next 30, 45 days that we get the rest of it.
Sending them as they get production.
Right.
complete.
So, but again, we appreciate that, and that's all I have at this time.
Okay. So we're at Board of Commissioners comments. Where do I start today? I keep moving back and forth. Oh, okay.
You can start with
Mr. Hardison? Okay.
Well, I don't have any committee reports. However, I did tour the HF Lee facility, and good news is I think in this week, as a matter of fact, they're going to fire up the coal ash refire furnace. So that's good news for the community. So we're going to be seeing they'll be clearing some land, so we'll probably get some questions on it, but hopefully we'll have the answers for them.
Okay.
But it's a great plan over there. Great plan.
Thank you. Ms. Taycock?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I spent most of my time mowing grass lately.
That's about what I know.
I did this past Saturday, attended the First Responder Appreciation Day at the Maxwell Center, and I'd like to thank State Farm Insurance and the Curtis Media Group and Kevin Johnson and his group for having the parking lot available. Did not have the turnout that I would love to have seen, but maybe to get bigger and better next year. I also just wanted to remind all of you and everyone to, if you get a chance, stop by the Wayne County Museum on William Street. Their exhibit is on display now. As I've told you before, they rotate them out about every 4 or 5 months, and the one they've got on display now is on barbecue, and they've got some real good literature and some things that came from different places. I'm all for preserving history, and Jennifer's doing a great job over there. So if you get the chance, stop by the museum and take a look. You'll probably be surprised at some of the things that they've got in there. And that's all I've got, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Taycock. Mr. Camardi, with your Wayne County mask on?
And so I wanted to test this out. And at first I thought it was not going to be large enough to reach around my mouth and catch both ears, but I kept stretching a little bit, and each time you put it on, it's a little more comfortable. So thank you, Mr. Manager, for and the decision made to, and Mr. World's suggestion and the decision made to buy a lot of these and disseminate these throughout. The scientists have said to us that the only way that we're going to head off the dreaded COVID-19 is that we space ourselves and we wash our hands as often as we can stand to wash them. I've just about washed the feeling out of my hands. They just do not feel the way they used to. Maybe they just haven't been as clean in the past as they are now. And of course, wear the mask, distance ourselves, and wash our hands as often as possible. While I'm on that subject of COVID-19, I know that I think maybe at a previous meeting, a doctor wanted to come up and give us a presentation on COVID-19 and probably on the related. In the past, I know she's given us information about diabetes, and given the opportunity for her to come, there would be questions that some of us would probably love to ask about various and sundry what they call underlying or related illnesses that can cause you to be more susceptible to not being able to survive COVID-19 if it should come knocking at your door. Also, and now this becomes a request, Mr. Manager, I would like for us to, I officially asked to have a presentation by that particular doctor, and I apologize for her name not popping right up.
Dr. Jenkins.
Dr. Jenkins, and also at the same time to ask our health director to may also give us a presentation at the same time. I think it's just imperative that as I look at the numbers, I think Wayne County has had a total of 3,820. I think that's what I remember seeing. And we need to be constant and vigilant as we can. I also think it would do all of our public bodies a service to hear a strong presentation on the facts, not somebody's opinion, but on the facts from the medical community as to what our level of danger is as it relates to day-to-day actions, where you go to public places, what kind of public events you might attend that you may not have thought about putting yourself in danger. And more than anything, I would like for them to publicly give an opinion as to what is the best thing to do with our children as it relates to going back to school face to face, or what is the best thing to do, because not doubting anyone's ability to make good decisions, there's a variety of opinions out there. And I think that while this body can't do anything directly about it, I think this body needs to have a strong opinion about what needs to be done in Wayne County and try officially, through protocol, have some opinion, whether it means anything or not, about what should happen with a lot of different activities in Wayne County that we may have something either directly or indirectly to do with it. The public deserves to be well informed so that collectively and or individually, families can make good decisions about what is best for their family members and populations. I did attend DSS in person. I had been doing it teleconferencely, and I did attend the Wayne Community College ribbon cutting ceremony for the new automotive department. I've never seen so many reenactments of a ribbon cutting in one day in my life. But I do congratulate them for how well they were organized in moving this group in and that group out and another group in and another group out. So for Dr. Walker and his entire staff out there, congratulations on a beautiful building and a fantastic ribbon cutting ceremony. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Worrell?
Yeah, just a few things. I would like to piggyback on what Mr. Camardi has said about the COVID-19 testing. I do think that it would be good to have both of them present the numbers for Wayne County so we can see locally. I know national, we look at numbers nationally, but I think for us just to look at both sides as far as presenting those numbers for Wayne County. Also, my second thing is, of course, right now, the kids are planning to open the doors back to the schools. But the problem now will be that the kids don't have enough devices during those off weeks. Now, there's been a lot of campaigning out there now for donors to donate devices. my company as well as me personally plan to donate the Chromebook devices. But I would like to say, as a community, I think we really need to take a look at the kids. Just last week, outside my window, I noticed 4 or 5 kids, in which they're all from the same family, and they were sharing 2 devices. And so once those devices, the battery life declines, they will have to walk home, which probably maybe 5 or 6 blocks. So one thing that we have done for World Contracting, we have allowed space in our office for them to come in and charge those devices. But the challenge now is for downtown Goldsboro business owners. If you see these kids out there with their devices, just have some time just to sit down and talk with them, encourage them in any way that you can, and support it any way that you can. And that's just one way that that we are supporting the needs of the kids in the community as well as the families. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Pate?
I don't want to throw cold water on your COVID stuff, but I grew up in a house of doctors. They never agreed on anything.
You stole my line.
Well, I lived it. But I certainly doesn't hurt to have some experts come in and give us some updates, and I'm fine with that. But just remember, many times they are opinions. I'm sorry I couldn't be at the ribbon cutting. I have spent most of my last 2.5 weeks in a dentist chair, and I hope to go back today and finally get my crown put on. I've been in pain for 3 weeks.
Wow.
And I feel sorry for people who go through this because I hate it. I went back and listened to the town hall. I forgot about it, honestly. And I thought that Carol did a really good job asking some very uncomfortable questions. And it took a while to get some people to start talking. But they did, and I want to thank you for doing such a great job there. I'll say the rest of what I got for later. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, before you and the Vice Chair, I did miss a couple things. I did also attend the ribbon cutting at the college.
Yeah.
And I did listen to all but just a few minutes of the town hall, and it was good job. And also, I did sit at the college the other day from 9:30 to from 9 o'clock to 12:30, taking ethics training that we usually sit in board meetings and do it, and we did it virtual this time, and that's the way to go. Yeah. It was quite a, I actually learned some things. But thank you for letting me throw those things in also.
Okay, Mr. Daughter.
I want to contain my comments as much as I can here. I was shocked to see recently that the CDC just released that 94% of the COVID deaths, 94% of them were from individuals that had two or more other issues, other health issues. Now, as I said many times, it's the data. You have to have all of the information, all of it, in order to make rational decisions. You can't have just a little piecemeal here and a piecemeal there. Yes, COVID-19 is a devastating issue. There's no doubt about it. And one death is too many. But at the same time, I think we all needed to know early on that our most vulnerable are our elderly. And those are the ones we should have been protecting. Those are the ones that we should have made sure had masks and PPPs, and there is where our focus should have been all along. We all are realizing that now. In regards to doctors, I don't know that particular doctor as such, but I can assure you doctors are human beings, and every one of them have got different opinions. And I really am not interested in hearing other opinions. Now, I have no problem in regards to hearing facts. And if we want to bring in our health director to give us facts, then I'm all for that. But if we bring in one doctor, then and the opinions are given, then we bring in another doctor, and then we have some more opinions, and then we bring another doctor in and have more opinions. If we are after facts and disseminating facts and facts only, then I would suggest that we bring in our health director, Dr. Weiss, to give us that information. I have never seen, and history will show this to be, that COVID-19 has absolutely been used politically by both sides. It's been like a football. It's time that we recognize in America that we are faced with COVID-19 and will be living with COVID-19 going forward. Let's find a way that we can restore our way of life, that our kids can go back to school, that we can go back to work, that we can have an enjoyable life as such, rather than living in fear of contracting COVID-19. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, before you move on, may I say one thing? Sometimes, I specifically asked for Dr. Jenkins and the health director because there's a elderly population out there that I wanted to hear Dr. Jenkins to drive home the point that they need to be especially careful, and that's the elderly minority population. Now, I hear you saying that you want facts, but it sounds as if you thought the only facts could come from our director. And it just wasn't the facts that I was looking for. It's the implication of more than one person giving out information, and so that the population out there that's looking at this would see more than one ethnic group giving the information, therefore maybe have an impact on those that's most vulnerable and need to be more careful. Now, no matter which party, and we could turn this into a political debate, but 180,000 people who died is not debatable, I don't believe. If you want facts, I think that's close to facts. They say by December they're going to be probably over that 200,000 is going to be dead, and those are real people who are in the grave somewhere. Now, anything that we can do that will give out facts, and facts never go without opinion. Everyone has an opinion. Like there's a real bad analogy that opinions and other things that everyone's got one. But what we're trying to do is get as much information out to the public, and specifically the public who's most vulnerable. And while we may debate the statistics and the numbers, Mr. Dara, I don't think there's any question that the minority population has suffered, and because of some of the underlying conditions. And I want to take this one step further. Dr. Jenkins has come to this board before and talked about diabetes and some other things. Well, if you got diabetes and some of these other things, your chance of leaving here are much greater if you get COVID-19. So I would just like to restate that I'd like to hear facts, and they got to throw in a little bit of opinion. That's what it sounds like the leadership in Washington, D.C. mostly operates on as opinion and very little facts, because the medical doctors who seem to know the facts are being prevented from saying very much to the public these days. And it sounds like most of what we're getting out of Washington, D.C. is a lot of opinions from both sides of the aisle, but opinions. So we'll have a few opinions from Wayne County. We probably won't suffer too bad hearing those opinions. Thank you.
Before we get too deep in the weeds here, is this something we can talk in closed session about, Mr. Parker?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if we're gonna vet it, we need to do it here, is that right? Or,
I make a motion that we just hush.
well,
Then we do what, just hush?
well,
Let me see.
and
I said all
and
that.
I agree with that. So I'm up for comments, okay? I look back over the last couple of weeks, with all these doctor's appointments I had, I was pretty busy, even though a lot of it was virtual, but we did have a face-to-face library board meeting, and I think I may have mentioned it already, but the library did get the grant to have the study done for a central library in the northern part of the county. We have met with our consultant. They were at our library board meeting. Got a lot of experience in libraries and where they should be. So we're looking forward to somewhere in the future. But Commissioner Daughter says, you still going with that? I said, sure we are, because one of these days, whether I'm here or not, there's going to be a library built in the northern part of the county. And it could be with some of the things economically that's going on. It may be sooner than later. I'm just saying may. But it was a good board meeting. We also, Commissioner Camardi and I are on the Social Services Board meeting, and we just had to give them a thumbs up on the job they did along with the Health Department and EMS and all the county staff during the hurricane, having the 2 shelters up there. They were short-lived. Boy, they were put up in record time, and things were in place. So I guess practice makes perfect, but let's don't practice anymore this year. We don't need any more. I was at the ribbon cutting at Wayne Community College, and that's an awesome facility that's there. What I'm looking forward to, and I'm selfish, what I'm looking forward to is what's the next phase of how they're going to coordinate and make room for the manufacturing center that's coming somewhere in the near future. We need to continue that. The virtual town hall, I listened to every single word. I listened to the whole thing from beginning to end. And I can tell you that the purpose of what I saw was that the hard questions need to be asked. The hard questions need to be asked. And they were asked in a climate and in a way that you couldn't get mad. I mean, we were in a group. Everyone there was supportive of the goals. Carol and her staff did an excellent job of putting out there the purpose of this virtual town hall. And this discussion, it got, people had to get limbered up a little bit. But I think once, everybody felt comfortable that, I'm not going to get yelled at or called, an SOB or whatever, everybody felt pretty comfortable in discussing what needs to be discussed. You're not going to hear these questions asked in any other forum. You're not going to hear it in the newspaper. You're not going to hear it on any other place except right here. So congrats to Carol and your staff on doing that. We also attended the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors meeting, and there's, I tell you what, this COVID-19, Commissioner Daugherty, you're 100% correct. No matter if we like it or not, it has affected every single part of our life in some way, shape, or form. It has had an effect on us. I guess I need to stop right there because there's a lot of, well, I'm going to say it anyway. I'm not the only one, and I don't feel like this 100%, but I have a lot of citizens in Wayne County. I can go to Walmart in Rosewood. I can go to Fremont Pikeville. I can come to Goldsboro. I've heard a lot of people say that the election's November 3rd, November 4th, all this will go away. And I think that's where you are suggesting that it may be partially political. I'm not saying all of it, but there's political ramifications on both sides of the fence here. So we'll see after the election. But at any rate, that's all I have. I also want to just reiterate that, again, if you commissioners and everyone listening, just keep me in your prayers. There may be some days coming up that may not be as pleasant as I'd like, but everything's going to be fine. And that's all I have. Does anyone else have anything?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Carol, I in my comments, I know I text you back, great job, but I want to say publicly to you, thank you very much for that effort that you all had. And Captain Brogdon, I want to pass it on to the sheriff. I thought his comment was really strong, and not that downplaying anyone else, but sometimes certain little things will catch you, and he did it. I thought everyone did a good job. Tell me, we do have the opportunity to go back and watch your. Can we go back and
Yes, sir.
go back in there and watch it again?
It's on YouTube as well as still on Facebook. So.
All right, that's what I wanted to know.
I found it on Facebook. That's how I found it.
Yes.
I found it on
Through
It is
the
on
site.
YouTube. So Wayne County government has a YouTube channel that you can find most any of our videos on, and you can actually share that. You can view it as many times as you like.
Right.
Carol, I do want to add this to it. As I was watching, I took some notes, and I don't have that little pad with me, but there are related topics that you can, I know you know this, but there's related topics that you can broaden this on. And one of the things that I thought, just to think about, how economics can be a wing of what you were talking about. Economics across all groups, and how economics can change a lot of things that nothing else can change. Opinions can be something, but economics is a way for people's lives to change. But
Yes, sir. We actually had that question presented to us in the comments, but we were long on the meeting and didn't want to extend it, but so far. But that was actually one of the comments made from a local businessman that said economics will change a lot of things, and if you can get these individuals gainfully employed and off the streets, then you solve some of the problems. And he was right.
not to be comical, it may even put out the wrong impression about the economics, but that is the one thing that up and down the spectrum, people know and have opinions about how economics affect their lives. And there are so many small ways that economics can bring people, can lift them up, that I would just love to hear a strong conversation about everyone having access, a larger number of people having access to resources that can change their economic life.
Okay. Any other? Okay. Mr. Parker, we get back in closed session.
Yes, sir, to discuss matters related to businesses in Wayne County and to consult with your attorneys to preserve attorney-client privilege.
You have a motion?
So
Okay, all in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, we're in closed session.